This is the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council media briefing for week ending November 5th, 2011. Progress reports are given by Health Secretary Claudia Groom-Duke and Secretary for Community Development and Culture, Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestin.
I just want to indicate today that the John Dial Community Center has been completed and will be handed over to the Division of Community Development and Culture on Friday. I also want to mention that the Palotavere Community Center is in its final stages of completion. The tiling has been done, the windows have gone in, and they are now doing the landscaping works around the facility. And it is expected that by November month end, that facility too will be handed over to the Division of Community Development and Culture. Further, I would have reported to the public that our division is embarking on the construction of 4 multipurpose facilities. And of course, these facilities are managed by MTS and in collaboration with the Division of Works and Infrastructure. I have been informed that the construction to the Speyside Community Center will start on Friday. Let me not say construction, let me say demolition of that community center will start on Friday. The contractors were on site today, and you will see tangible or visible signs of work taking place by Friday. Also, the Lowlands, Betsy's Hope, and the Bethesda Plymouth multipurpose facility are all geared to start next week. And I know that those facilities are facilities that are in dire need by the community, and our division, as well as the other division, Works and Infrastructure, are working endlessly to ensure that we can have those facilities up and running within an 8-month period. I also just want to add to the discussion that we have done our priority projects within the division, and we have approximately $10 million worth of upgrades that we will undertake for this fiscal period 2011-2012. And you will see works taking place on the Golden Lane Center, the Glamorgan Center, Signal Hill, the Dullowford Community Center, Goodwood, Lescato, or Fairfield Complex, Mount Grace, Canby, Mount Pleasant, where they required an extension and a kitchen, so to speak, and also Mason Hall Community Center. These will amount to approximately $10 million. In other discussions, there are 3 communities that we would have promised improved facility. Those communities are Belgarden, Canaan, Bonaccord, and Lambeau. And next week, Monday and Wednesday, we will meet with those 3 communities with a view to having a better understanding of what the needs are in terms of improvement to their facility. I also want to report on the softer side of our projects and to mention the work that is being done by the Festival Commission at this point in time. Basically, we are in preparation mode for our carnival, and you will hear the launch of the date at another time, the date of carnival. Also, we are in the process of upgrading our mechanisms and our systems within the office to ensure smoother and more effective operations, and at the same time documenting the policy for Heritage Festival and the Carnival and other festivals that we are responsible for at this time. And so computerization of office systems are taking place, putting in systems for Carnival 2012, and also the policies for the operation of the Commission, as well as the operation, the handling for the different festivals, so to speak. Apart from that, the Tobago Festival Commission is responsible for the implementation of the people of African descent activities. We have been celebrating the achievements of the African in Tobago, And we would have started off with our Heritage Festival, which ran from July to August, first week in August. And we would have seen a concert in recognition of the people of African descent, as well as a pre-independence concert at Delafoard. The activities continue. On the 26th of November, we will have an international concert with world-renowned artist Baaba Maal out of Senegal. He will be on our shores with his team, along with other local acts. We also have the Calypso History Month that would have had their celebration on Saturday at the Pembroke Heritage Park. That program was well received. Over 11 participants vied for the coveted prize of $20,000, as well as the Heritage Calypso Crown. And I must say congratulations to Mr. Thomas on his achievement. The Tobago Festival Commission at this point is also, and the Division of Community Development and Culture are also engaged in training activities at Bell Garden with a view to having the Bell Garden Belly Fest on November 12th, 2011. Remember, in earlier discussions, we spoke about one, having Tobago as a year-round heritage experience, and two, we spoke about a number of different activities that we will implement in commemoration of the people of African descent. And so presently, the Bell Garden community is well on their way with practice, and on the 12th, they will be staging their Belly Fest, where there are quite a number of communities from Tobago who will participate in that activity. The division as well as the commission are also in discussions with Mount Grace to have their Christmas Customs of Yesteryear program in December, as well as the Speyside community, where we will see the putting on of their continuation program, Tobago as a year-round, or Speyside as a year-round heritage experience. I also want to mention the reopening of the Bell Garden Telecenter. That center has been established in collaboration with the Division of Finance and Enterprise Development. For some time now, the Bell Garden community would have requested the service to continue after it was stopped by the Ministry of Social Development, now known as the Ministry of the People. The Tobago House of Assembly has now taken up the project, and it is now under the Division of Community Development and Culture in collaboration with the Division of Finance and Planning. Classes are taking place daily, and I know that they are in the registration process for other classes. So it's really a walk-in facility where the community of Bell Garden as well as the community of Tobago East can meet to do technology and other classes, so to speak. We are now in discussion with the Charlottesville Computer Foundation with a view to restarting their program as well. That was stopped some time ago for reasons unknown, and because we want to expand the facility, we are looking at an additional place, which is proven to be quite challenging, but we are hoping, we are very optimistic that by November, December for the latest, that program can restart in the community, all with the aim of providing computer literacy to the residents in the particular communities. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to report on where we are with the progress to the development of the film and the fashion industry. I would have reported on several meetings that we would have held, one with Dr. Bruce Paddington, who has a wealth of experience in developing film, and also one with Claudia Pegasus, who too has a wealth of experience in fashion design and has worked along with her Trinidad counterparts in the development of the fashion industry. I just want to mention that the feasibility study has been completed, and there are quite a number of recommendations that would have been pointed out in that feasibility study, which we are actively pursuing at this time. The first recommendation is for us to have a film industry task force, and so we are now compiling the terms of reference for that task force. And the second recommendation is for us to commission a strategic plan that will help to spell out the short, the medium term, and also the long-term objectives. And Dr. Bruce Paddington will help us in the development of the strategic plan. He, along with Mr. Rodale Clark, a Tobagonian, and a gentleman who has quite a lot of experience in drama and in terms of film. I just want to mention also that some of our short-term measures are already in train. You know that we started this sometime last year. We started to actively pursue the development of the film industry sometime last year, and we would have partnered with the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival to do quite a number of programs here in Tobago. We had started off by going to areas such as Lescato and Mount St. George, and we would have implemented several workshops in those areas and would have brought in international renowned film developers here to speak to persons in Tobago who we feel have an interest or who would want to further their careers in film. It continued this year. We had over 50 representatives from different villages, from different heritage groups, young persons who are in the field of drama and also theater, and they would have been introduced not only to film, but also to careers in film development. That was well received, and that would have taken place at the Fairfield Complex. Apart from that, we would have had film screenings in areas of Charlottesville, Belgarden, Castara, Cudler Hall, with, of course, large turnouts at each venue. And so that was a part of our short-term measure, and we are at the point where we are implementing the other short-term aspect, which speaks to training of individuals throughout communities, because we want the film industry to start germinating from the community level, because we are trying to brand our own product here, and we are now looking at what is that brand for Tobago film. So while the strategic plan is being drawn up, and while the task force is also being worked on, the division is at the same time implementing and working with the people in doing a number of short-term measures on the island. And in the next few months, you will see quite a number of other workshops being rolled out in different communities, so to speak. I also want to mention that we have had our Calypso writing workshop, where we would have seen over 30 young persons, 30 young Calypsonians, if I can call them that. They were a beneficiary of a 2-week camp facilitated by our division in collaboration with TUCO. And we have several presenters, the well-renowned Mr. Roald Titus, John Arnold, and Miss Victoria Pat Mitchell. And they would have also been visited by people of the standing of Gregory Ballantyne, Morel Peters, etc., persons who would have worked with us in shaping the program, so to speak. So the Division of Community Development and Culture is well on its way in terms of developing communities, in terms of partnering and empowering communities. And we have a long list of programs and activities that we will roll out in the community over the next year or so, because we're in the start of the new financial period. And I will give you updates on how the implementation of those activities are progressing as we go along.
Mrs. Groom-Duke began by giving a status report on the new Scarborough Hospital.
A policy oversight committee was established, and this committee is comprised of the representatives from the Division of Health and the Social Services, the Tobago House of Assembly, the Tobago Regional Health Authority, and the Ministry of Health. And we have been meeting on an ongoing basis to ensure the smooth transition and the commissioning of the new hospital. Now, yesterday, one of such meeting was held, and we were fortunate to have the presence of the Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Fuad Khan. He was at that meeting with his permanent secretary, his medical officer, his chief medical officer, and other members of the team, as well as members of the team from the Tobago House of Assembly and the RHA. And of course, a part of our discussions that were held at yesterday's meeting included the phasing of the commissioning of the hospital. And so we have some dates for you in terms of the commissioning. In phase 1, the contractors, the Chinese Railway Construction Company Limited, they would hand over and this is the civil handing over, they will hand over the building to NIPDEC. And the date scheduled for that handing over is scheduled for the 30th of November. That is the 30th of this month. It is scheduled for the Chinese Railway Construction to hand over the building to NIPDEC. NIPDEC, in their turn, will now hand over the building to the Ministry of Health. And they would then apply the installment of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Now, according to the team, it is expected that the first installment of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment should be completed around December to January, the first installment. And the second installment will be completed around 12 weeks from December, which will be around March. And as such, in the process, you would recognize that the responsibility, the role and responsibility of the Ministry of Health to put in the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, we have to be testing those equipments. We have to be testing. And therefore, during December, one is expecting that we will continue to test those equipment. And especially in the area of our diagnostic services, those equipments that would require testing on people and so on. So we are saying that in terms of this process, as you know, the Tobago House of Assembly and the Regional Health Authority, they are the end users of all of this process. And nonetheless, we must all work together to ensure that the equipment, the furniture, the fixtures are well suited and are well installed and well tested so that we can begin to look at occupying the hospital. So we really need for our people in Tobago to understand that it will take something like 6 months to complete a process. And sometimes at the meeting yesterday, they were saying these commissioning and moving into a hospital at this stage would take something like a year. They were saying that, but we have been working towards a 6-month time frame. And so we are working assiduously. I must commend the commissioning team, because as you know, there will be the time when, as we move the services from the old hospital into the new hospital, we will still be managing both hospitals at the same time. So there will be the time when we will be managing both hospitals as we move services in transition from the old hospital to the new hospital. And this is something we really want everybody to understand in terms of the stages, the phases, and what it takes to move the services from one hospital to the other. At the same time, you know, we really want to make sure that our people in Tobago benefit very, very, very early from our new hospital. And so we are working assiduously to ensure that our people will be able to occupy these services in the hospital in a timely manner. Again, I want to congratulate the teams on the commissioning and decommissioning teams, the members of staff of the health system, the health sector, for the kind of work that they are putting in at this time. Now, in terms of the annual service agreement, I just want to move there a little, that now that the budget is read and we are very clear in terms of where we are in the health sector, the annual service agreement will be presented to the chairman and the board. This would be the very first annual service agreement to the board submitted in this particular way. Again, I really want to commend the team in preparing this document, and to the chairman and her board members as we go through the annual service agreement on Friday, the 4th of November. And finally, I want to talk about the commissioning of the Charlottesville Integrated Health Complex, and that will take place on Wednesday, November 16th, 2011 at 4 p.m. Now, this facility will service the community with some of the following services: antenatal services, and that would include ultrasound, STI services, both male and female, and of course, services, HIV, AIDS, and other services, child welfare services, immunization, screening for chronic diseases, and this will entail hypertension, diabetes, and so on, cardiac, wellness clinic, and of course, breast examination, pap smear examination, testing for blood sugar level, hypertension, prostate kidneys, etc., mental health, and of course men's health, school health program, nutrition, education, screening for diabetes, hypertension, a gym for patients and staff. Of course, we know how important exercise is. Port health, public health issues, including environmental health, travel health, and health social services, among other services for those people in Charlottesville.
Questions regarding the new Scarborough Hospital were put to Mrs. Groom-Duke by the media.
In today's Express, it's being said that confirming that Mr. Khan did visit the hospital along with THA officials, but it's also saying that by December, people will be able to go to the Scarborough Hospital for outpatient services such as diagnostic CT scans and other lab services. Will this be possible?
I cannot comment on that because of the phases. There is a meeting scheduled for Monday with all technical team, and then we'll be advised as to the feasibility of these programs.
My concern is that, is there any quote-unquote obscene haste to seem to appear to throw the New Scarborough Hospital into operation when all these necessaries have not been rigidly observed and scrutinized?
Our role as end users, we must be responsible for the health care for the people in Tobago. And so we must take into consideration all the safety controls and all the regulatory time frame in terms of how we operate. Of course, we want Tobago to experience this new hospital. We know what the service is like in the old hospital, and every person in Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago would really want to move in to the new hospital. Nonetheless, these testing and so on are very, very crucial, and we in the Tobago House of Assembly consider it very, very critical that we adhere to those in the interest of safety for our people here in Tobago. Of course, we join with wanting to speed up operations because we in Tobago have waited quite a long time for the opening of a new hospital. And we also know that in the case of these diagnostic services and so on, we would certainly want to begin operations along those lines. Nonetheless, we have to really, really be mindful of the need for these testing and to ensure that the people will have a safe, let us say safe, because we all want the best. We all want state of the art, but we want to be safe.
You have been viewing the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing for week ending November 5th, 2011. For the Department of Information, I am Sophie Gale.